plead the Fifth Amendment.
Isn't it true that Ms. Vasquez has invited you on a several-day trip to Sacramento, all expenses paid?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Isn't it true that you attended that trip?
I
And your
plead the Fifth
hotel was
Amendment.
paid for, your airfare was paid for, ground transportation was paid for, and food was paid for. Isn't that true, ma'am?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Isn't it true that Ms. Vasquez also invited you to a ceremony out in Downey at the American Dreamers Award ceremony on September 28, 2017?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
It was at the Columbia Memorial Space Center. Do you remember that?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
And isn't it true that you sent her an email dated, or looks like a text message dated, well, the time is 11:46 a.m. It says, "Hi, Leticia. I would love to go to support you. Unfortunately, my car isn't working." You remember sending that email?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
How many crimes have you committed?
None.
How many crimes are you suspected of?
None.
Isn't it true that you really don't think you will be investigated for crimes? Isn't that true?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
I'd like to show you a copy of the invitation to the American Dreamers Award ceremony, along with your text message saying you'd love to come, along with a photo of you and Ms. Vasquez at that ceremony. Do you recognize that?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Would you look at the photograph, please? Let the record reflect
seen it.
she hasn't even turned to it yet.
I've seen it.
You've seen what?
I've seen it.
Seen what is the it that you've seen?
What do you just show?
What is that?
Well, what is that? What you just
I don't know. I'm
asked
asking
me?
what you said for the record, so we're clear. You're saying you've seen it. There's nothing on the record as what you've seen. What
This
have you
document
seen?
you just
What is
passed
it?
to me
Will you
right now.
describe it, please?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to show you another document. Well, Ms. Vasquez, this is where she invited you to go to Sacramento, all expenses paid. And you'll notice that you, Adolfo Varas, Hugo Zepeda, and you're on the list at number 30, along with a photograph in front of the state capitol. You recognize that?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did you even thank her for that trip? Let the record reflect the witnesses conferring with her counsel. Did you even thank her for that, for inviting you to come to Sacramento?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Why do you plead the Fifth Amendment?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Do you think that telling the truth about that will involve you in some crime? Is that why you're pleading the Fifth Amendment?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Turn to page 2 of the document you're looking at. Is that you in that picture?
Yes.
Is that your friend Adolfo?
Yes.
You call him your best friend, don't you?
Yes.
And is that Hugo Cepeda
Yes.
and Diane Oliva?
Yes.
Oliva? And you guys spent a lot of time together during that trip, isn't it right?
Correct.
You guys sat in the back of the bus and were very chummy and pally, right?
Correct.
That was before you hated Diane?
I plead the Fifth Amendment. I don't hate her.
So your answer is you don't hate her. You do give an answer.
I don't hate her.
Is there a reason you call her so many names in all these text messages and Facebook postings?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Do you love her?
No? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I'm just wondering why you're calling her so many foul names, and then you come here and you
Well, I'm
refuse
just
to answer
wondering
any
why
questions.
you're making stuff up and you're so
Do you think
phony,
I'm making
like
up
this
that
whole entire
document? Do you think
thing.
that document in front of you is a made-up document with your name on it?
No, I obviously
Did you
know
go
it's
on the
not.
trip, ma'am, or not?
Yes, I did.
And it was all paid for, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you didn't have
With taxpayers' money
Leticia
from the
didn't
Central
have to.
Basin Water District. She didn't pay for it, or did she?
Leticia didn't have to invite you, did she?
Well, to begin with, that was a Central Basin trip. You're making it seem like she paid for it out of pocket. Is she a state representative? Yes or no? Yes, she is.
She's not
So,
a state representative.
state
ma'am.
politician. Well, that's
She's
what
not
she
a
went
state
in.
politician.
Well, that's what she went and told my family.
Okay,
Well, that's
so
what she calls
in
herself.
any event, isn't the fact, the truth of it, if you want to tell the truth, I don't know, you probably take the Fifth, Isn't the truth of it that she invited you and she didn't have to invite you? Isn't that the truth?
I applied for the event. She was the one in charge of getting the categories. I don't know the way she works. I don't know.
Let me get this clear. You don't know whether or not Leticia was responsible for permitting you to go. You don't know that, right?
Yes, I do.
It could have been Governor Brown or something, right?
It could have been one of the board of
So you
directors
just don't
that
know.
approved it.
You don't know. You don't have
No.
any clue, right?
I know that it was her.
All right. I just want to be clear
But
as to
I
how
do want,
far. Hold on.
for the record,
We're-
that
no,
she
hold
didn't
on.
pay for it. It was
Hold
a
on.
Central Basin. So
Hold
you're
on.
making it seem like she's some
No one
Mother
said
Teresa.
No one said she paid for it. Now that we want to get to the truth, maybe you're interested in getting to the truth. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe you are.
So let's go to it. You didn't pay for the trip, did you?
No, and neither did she.
And you wouldn't have been on that trip if she hadn't okayed it. Isn't that true?
I don't know, Leticia. Did you okay it?
So you don't want to answer the question.
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Now you're back to the Fifth Amendment. So you think talking about the fact that Leticia Vasquez, a public official, invited you on an all-expenses water inspection trip to Sacramento.
How is
if
this
you tell
relevant?
the truth about that,
How is this relevant to the text messages?
it's
for when
relevant.
She filed?
I'll
no,
answer
this
that.
is irrelevant.
I'll
I'm not
answer
going to
it.
answer
I'll
anything
answer
that's
it.
irrelevant.
I'll answer it if you want to know how it's relevant. It's relevant to your credibility. That's all. A lot of judges want to know, are you just a big fat liar?
Like
That's
you?
what they want to know.
I'm not a liar. You're the liar.
That's what they want to know.
You're the liar.
And so when you take the Fifth Amendment, judges wonder, well, wow, she must be hiding her criminal activity. Especially when you take the Fifth Amendment about simple things like, what's your brother's name? Or simple things like,
Well, maybe
didn't
because
she
there's a
invite
lot
you?
of
Please don't interrupt. Only one can talk at a time. I'll let you say what you want to say when I finish.
You never do. You
I
haven't
will.
allowed me to elaborate in any of the questions. It's your way or the highway.
No,
so
you
like
take
I
the
told
Fifth.
you, I'm
So-
only going to answer in regards to the text messages that were disseminated. The fact that you edit and you make things appear a certain way, that's your wife. She's corrupt. You're covering up for her.
Did you
Good
say
for
I
you.
edited?
Yes, you did. You highlight stuff that I
Wait,
wrote,
hold on,
and then you
hold
make it
on,
into your own
hold
context.
on, hold
I
on.
can print out all the messages and read them to you, and none is the
Are
way
you
it
saying I
appears to
changed
be.
your words, ma'am?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
I just want to be clear, because you won't be able to say I edited some document and now take the Fifth. Are you claiming that I edited a document and changed the words?
I plead the Fifth
Of course you
Amendment.
do. Of course you do. Let's talk about your brother and your sister and what they have to say about you.
Let's talk about them because they're going to be going to court.
I show the witness a document. At the top, 17 CMR 001234, the case number, says 11:08 a.m. Starts, yes, Letty. Like I said, it's not even about taking sides. And it ends with, thank you for your time. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
What is that document?
It's a text message.
From?
My brother.
All right. So you've seen this before.
Yes, and my brother
Is your
told me the
brother,
whole background story about how your wife went to go slut shame me and she lied to the whole entire
There's
family.
no question pending. I haven't asked you a question yet.
Well, I'm letting you know.
Have you? Good. But you won't be able to
Because-
say any of that in court because you're taking
Well,
the
they're
Fifth.
going to go.
So they won't be able to testify either because you're taking the Fifth. You're preventing any of your witnesses
What's
from
okay?
testifying by testifying the Fifth.
They're going to disseminate this information to the district attorney's office to be able to. Why are you clapping? You're so arrogant.
Now, have you read this text message?
I have.
Is there anything in the text message that is not true?
Yeah, everything's untrue.
Your brother wrote lies?
My brother was misinformed by your
I just
wife who
asked
went
you
to
whether
misinform me.
what's in
No,
your brother's text message is true.
my brother's not here. I'm not going to answer for my brother.
So you don't know whether it's true.
About what?
What's in the text
When
message?
my brother wrote this, he was being
Let me
misled.
put it a different way. Will you read into the record the part of this text message that is not true? Read into the record the part of your brother,
I'm
your
not
own
going
brother's
to
text
read.
message
I'm not
that
going
is
to read
not
into
true.
the record something that my brother wrote. Why don't you come and interrogate him and ask him questions so he can tell you what your wife did?
So you refuse to answer questions?
Yes, I refuse to answer anything regarding my family or any other individuals. I'm only going to answer about myself.
What is the basis for refusing to answer questions about this text message?
That's your wife. Both of you are corrupt. You guys twist things, phony, like, lawsuits and everything. I'm not gonna sit here and discuss things with you. Like I said, if anything, my family and I are just gonna go straight to the district attorney's office, because both of you are just frivolous, phony, like just everything about it. Everyone knows that about you guys in the Southeast, how you guys try to intimidate, abuse of the legal justice system, lie under perjury of the law. At this point, you know, I'm just gonna continue pleading the fifth, because I already know your guys' intentions and how you guys are. So why am I gonna sit here with corrupt people who have no morals, no integrity or anything?
So it's your belief that even though you have a lawyer representing you, even though the judge ordered you to be here, even though you're under oath to tell the truth, even though the proceeding can be used in court, even though your lawyer will have a chance to examine you, you still refuse to tell the truth, right? Very well. Let's move on to the next one.
We object with that characterization.
Yeah, I told you, that's all they do.
Did you read this?
Yeah, I read it. My brother told me about the whole thing. That's when my brother talked to you over the phone.
But you say it's false, but I just want to be clear. Are you taking the fifth on what's
I'm not
in
going
here
to speak
that's
for
false?
my brother. Like I said,
I didn't ask you to speak for your brother.
I'm not going to say anything in regards to this, because my brother knows what your wife did. She knows how she lied to him and to my sister and to my family. So I'm not going to answer to this when I don't even know.
There's no question.
And I'm not writing because I can't take two people.
Yeah, she's just wasting time. There's no question.
That was your answer.
That was my answer.
So you have read it, correct?
Yeah, I've read it.
And you say there are false things in here that your brother wrote?
No, my brother was misled.
So it's truthful things in here or false things? Which one?
At this moment, it was truthful. However, when my brother actually found out the whole background story.
At this moment, you mean when he wrote it? At what moment?
Why don't you ask my brother? You're asking me like if I'm the one that sent that text message.
Because he's talking about you. And I want to make sure.
Well, why don't you ask your wife what it is that she did? Why don't we bring my family here? We'll all sit down and then we'll throw each other's like dirty panties or whatever it is that you want, so she can come out and you can see how much, not you, because obviously you're her husband, you're corrupt too, so you're obviously going to defend her. That's your wife. Judge, this woman is corrupt. And you can have my whole family, sit them down, and she'll tell you what she did, how she went to our home, how she's frivolous, how she's been vindictively and maliciously persecuting me, how she's coming with all these contractors, state politicians, etc. Yeah, Leticia, keep fanning yourself because the heat is hot and you can't take it.
Are you done? Now, keep in mind that since you're taking the fifth, you won't be able to say any of that in court.
Like I said,
this is the time to say it, and you can't bring witnesses to say it for you. This is the time.
You know, my family at this point.
Now, let me ask you a question about this.
Or your phony lawsuits
this
or allegations.
Says,
we are more interested in the district attorneys.
Do you know why the judge says, I mean, your brother says, so this is your brother, talking about you. So please, just block her number and social media. I'm sure as a state politician, there's better things to do than see someone rant their life away. Did your brother ever tell you were ranting your life away?
No.
Did he tell you that he suggested that Leticia simply block you because you were harassing her?
Why don't you ask him? You're asking me things that
I'm asking you, did your brother tell you that? Did your brother tell you that he was suggesting to Leticia that she block you because you were ranting your life away?
I plead the Fifth Amendment. These people are unbelievable.
You plead the Fifth?
You don't know.
Yeah, like why am I going to answer stuff about my brother like when I...
Then just say you don't know if you don't know.
Here's another one from your brother. Do you recognize this one? This one says...
anything that has to do with my brother, I'm going to plead the Fifth. He can come and give his testimony.
10:49 a.m. It starts with... there's a JP icon, Jerry. It says 92, like the 92nd text message, I suppose. And starts with, me because when I reached, and ends with, we are hardworking and honorable. Have you ever seen that before?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Do you have the whole text?
Do you see where he says, I'm embarrassed for my family?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Are you an embarrassment to your family?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Do you remember your brother telling you were an embarrassment to the family when we were in court?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Do you remember your sister also saying you were an embarrassment to the family?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You remember your brother telling you here, as he does here, that Adolfo instead of helping you as a friend, that he's letting all this pass by. He encourages the confrontation and drama behind closed doors. Is that what Adolfo does?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay.
Where does it say that?
Up top.
He's just
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have a cut off copy.
No, it says it right
my
up
brother
top.
has all the text messages.
Okay.
He can give them
Yeah,
to
because
you.
it's cut off.
It's what he told you about.
Yeah, it's cut off.
It's what he told you about everything, how she came in with her lies and everything and slut-shaming. And then she victimizes herself when she has unclean hands.
Do you understand, ma'am, that when you say
Yeah,
people are
you know,
corrupt
she's a
and all
state
that,
politician, but yet she has a
ma'am,
time to wait.
can I ask you a question?
Let's listen, please.
Do you understand that when you make all those statements about Leticia Vasquez being corrupt, you won't be able to state that in court without saying what the facts are? You can't just say, oh, she's corrupt. We have the right to ask you, what did she do?
I
Do you
plead the
understand
Fifth
that?
Amendment.
Okay, I just want to be clear when we get in court and you say you didn't understand and otherwise you would have answered and want to continue it, that the judge is not going to do that. I just want to be clear with you on that. That's the purpose for this proceeding, to ask you questions about all these claims you're making against Leticia. And when you just take the Fifth Amendment and refuse to answer, all the judge is going to do is refuse to allow you to say any of that stuff. And he's not going to allow you to bring other witnesses in and say all that stuff. He's just going to probably rule against you. That's my opinion there. We'll see what happens. And here's your brother Jerry. This is another one. Starts with, this one is 10:49 a.m. It says, please refrain yourself from responding to any more of her messages or messages from Angel or Jack. Do you know what he's talking about there?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now here's one from your sister. Your sister and your brother, Laura and Jerry. 11:09 a.m. It says, apparently I was blocked on my sister's phone since I went off on her after you first came to our house. Did your sister block you?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Why do you plead the Fifth on whether or not your sister blocked you? Is your sister involved in a crime too?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Well,
Thank you.
now let's go back to what is the street that you got the Lyft car from?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You're pleading the Fifth to the name of a street?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did you steal the car?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
So you don't plan to answer questions about Lyft or where you got this Lyft car or where you work. Is that true?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay, let's move on through. Have you ever been known by any other names?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Have you ever been married?
No.
Do you have any children?
No.
Do you have a valid California driver's license?
Yes.
Please identify your social media identifiers.
I don't have any.
You're not on Facebook?
No.
You're not on Twitter or Instagram?
No.
You're on no social media?
No.
Since when?
A few months ago.
What's a few months ago? This year?
Yes.
When? January? February? When?
Don't recall.
You don't recall. Why did you go off social media?
Because I wanted to.
Isn't it true that you went off social media because you've been harassing people?
Not true. That's your opinion.
It's just a question. Why do you feel okay to answer that question, apparently? What is your cell phone number?
323-698-2556. Don't text me or call me.
698-25 what?
323-698-2556. Don't call me or text me.
Have you been getting emails I've sent you when I copy you on documents?
Yeah, sometimes I open them like days later.
It's all right. We just need contact in case you lose your lawyer. So I have some way to contact you. And you say Lyft is your employer. That's how you make your living?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You plead the Fifth Amendment to who your employer is?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You plead the Fifth Amendment to how you make a living?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Very well. Do you own a firearm?
No.
You have access to a firearm?
No.
You ever fired a gun?
No.
You have access to any weapons?
No.
Are you in this country legally?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Have you ever been a party to a lawsuit before?
To my citizenship status,
Have you ever been a party to a lawsuit before?
No.
Please state the names of all your employers during the last 5 years.
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did the Southgate Chamber of Commerce ever give you a reason for firing you other than you are a whistleblower?
No.
They told you you were a whistleblower? That's why they fired you? They told you that that was the reason?
No, I said they didn't give me a reason.
So they fired their executive director and they refused to give you a reason?
Yes.
Did you ask for a reason?
Yes.
And what did they say?
They didn't give me one.
Who did you ask for a reason?
The board that fired me.
Who is that person?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
What is your relationship to Adolfo Varas?
He's my friend.
Where does he live?
In a house.
What is the address?
I don't know.
Have you ever been there before?
Yes.
What street is it located on?
I think it's Elizabeth.
Elizabeth?
I think. Yeah.
In what city?
Southgate.
Has he ever lied for you?
No.
Have you ever lied for him?
No.
Has Adolfo ever been arrested?
No. Not that I know of.
Are you still helping Adolfo take credit for demonstrations and things that he didn't create?
No.
That he didn't create.
Did not create. She helps him, you know, take credit for things he doesn't do. When did you first learn that Rocio, is it Rocio? Rosario? What is her name? Pacheco.
Her name is Rosario, but we call her Rocio.
Okay, Rocio Pacheco. When did you first learn that she could speak to God?
She's religious. Are you making fun of God now? Are
You
you
want to
making
answer
fun
the
of us?
question, ma'am?
Well, I'm letting you know because it seems like you have a problem with
Do you
people that
want to
believe
answer
in
the
God.
question or just make speeches? Please just
Do you
answer the
know?
Like,
question.
how am I supposed to know?
That the
I don't
answer is,
know.
I don't
You
know.
said that
Come on.
she told you she speaks to God.
Like, how am I supposed to know?
Well, let's go. Maybe it's all a lie. I don't know.
It's not a
Let's see.
lie. Well,
Let's
maybe you
see.
just have issues with people who believe in God. Maybe you're an
Well, I
atheist.
don't
Who
know.
knows?
Here we go. These are
You
your
clearly
words, not
bash on
mine.
people who
These are
believe
your
in God.
words. Your words, not mine. It says, the Lord spoke to me through Rosario Pacheco a multiple of times.
So wait, you're going back
Is that true
to
or
the
not
district
true?
attorneys. Hold on a second.
Is that true or not true, ma'am?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I'm
if he
entitled to an
continues
answer.
I plead the Fifth Amendment. I'm not going to answer anything that has to
Okay.
do with the district
So-
attorney's deficit. I'm sorry.
Did she ever speak to you? It says
What is
the
it called?
Lord. It says the Lord
Declaration.
showed.
Oh, manifesto.
It says the Lord showed Rosario so many times to warn. It says warm. I guess you meant warn me. I was strange, and that there were women who were envious and didn't want Jack and I together. But I was disobedient to his word, and I did things my way. And the man doesn't know better than God. So, did Rosario ever tell you where she was when God was speaking to her?
That's a manifesto for the district attorneys. I don't know why you're bringing it into the court, into the case. I'm not going to answer anything regarding the manifesto. I've already told you that.
And the
I don't
reason
know
you're
why
not
you
going to answer
continue.
is what?
Why are you adding something to a case that's not for this? Like, the whole case as to why she filed the restraining order was because of the text messages. So now you're adding garbage over garbage, which does come to prove that you guys are in fact retaliating against me.
Fine, that's your opinion. Did she ever
What's
tell
your
you where she
opinion too?
was when God spoke to her?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
So you're taking the Fifth Amendment about your Lord and Savior?
I plead the Fifth. Why are you making fun of God?
Are you taking the Fifth Amendment about your Lord and Savior?
Yeah, like, why is he making fun of God? That's my religion. Like, why in the
So
world
you
is
won't
he-
answer it then? What is your religion?
I plead the Fifth Amendment. You obviously
You're
like to
ashamed
make...
of your religion?
No, of course.
What is your religion?
None of your business. You like to make fun of my religion all the time. You like to make fun of God. I'm not going to speak to you about my freedom of religion.
Don't you think it's shameful that you would lie about God speaking to Rosario in this manifesto of yours filled with hate?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You know you have a 36-page manifesto, and you mention Leticia Vasquez. You seem to be obsessed with her for some reason.
You seem to be obsessed with me.
You mention her...
You seem to have an obsession with me.
Let's see here. Something like 198 times. Oh.
Like I said, that's for the district attorney, so I don't know why you're bringing it into the court case.
All right, here, in your
or what you're
manifesto,
trying to do.
You mentioned Leticia Vasquez 100, it's only 36 pages. You mentioned Leticia Vasquez 194 times. Are you obsessed with her?
No.
You mentioned Jack Guerrero.
That was for the district attorneys.
Hold on. You mentioned Jack Guerrero 248 times. Are you obsessed with him?
I plead the Fifth Amendment. I'm not going to answer your
'Cause I
questions
thought
about
you
the
said you
district
were past
attorney's
that.
manifesto.
Now, you mentioned the devil 20 times.
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
I see. And then you mentioned that how you wanted to be married to a banker.
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did you want to marry Jack because you thought he would give you a good lifestyle?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
All right, very well.
Oh, this is so boring.
What is your relationship to Maria Santillan?
None. I plead the Fifth Amendment.
What is your relationship to Ida Castro?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
What is your relationship to Teresa Carlos?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Is Teresa Carlos paying for you in this lawsuit, paying for your attorney?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
What is your relationship to Angel Sotelo?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Is it true that you worked on Rudy Montalvo's campaign against Leticia Vasquez?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Is it true that you created such a disturbance at the Southgate Chamber of Commerce that the Southgate Chamber officials had to call the Southgate police to put you out?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
And isn't it true that when they fired you as executive director for incompetence, that you were creating such a disturbance that you had to leave and leave your purse and keys?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
And isn't it true that on a separate time you had to come back to get your purse and keys with police officers there because the Southgate people were afraid of your erratic, crazy, and disruptive behavior?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You know Janet Torres?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
You plead the Fifth Amendment to whether or not you know Janet Torres?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Isn't it true that you were fired from the Chamber of Commerce for incompetence and theft?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay. As far as you know, did Adolfo Vargas ever live with Rosario Pacheco?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
What did you learn from your 48 Laws of Power book?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did you learn to deceive people?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did you learn to manipulate and use people?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did you voluntarily put up the video on the social media where you're talking about the laws of power? Is that
Video.
something voluntarily you did?
What's the relevance?
What is he talking about?
I don't know.
I know. I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay. Is it true that what you said in the video that doesn't make any difference whether it's true or not, it's just to get publicity? That's what the
I
purpose
plead the
is?
Fifth Amendment.
Okay. Has Leticia Vasquez ever done anything good or positive for you?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Have you ever made a false statement against Leticia Vasquez?
No.
You don't think it's false to call her a rat, a fucking rat, and a fucking witch, you don't think that's false?
No.